Chapter 1. Saffron. Worried. I woke with a start, my skin flushed and sweaty, tangled in the blankets as if I'd fought a battle in my sleep. In truth, I had. Grunting, I staggered to my feet and over to the bowl to wash my face, trying to wash away the memory of the same bad dreams that had haunted me every night since the battle against Enric's forces. Every night I saw Ryland, the war chief of the Three Rivers clan, dying, sacrificing himself as he distracted King Enric long enough for us to evade his terrible dark magic. A sacrifice he wouldn't have had to make if I hadn't tried to do too much and lost control of my magic. If I'd been better, more prepared, stronger, Enric would be dead, and War Chief Ryland would be with us now, celebrating our victory with toasts and speeches of his warriors' prowess. It was all my fault. A cool breeze pulled the door of the tent open, raising goosebumps on my arms. Outside, I could see the white-covered peaks beyond, high and looking unreal over the browns, grays, and greens of the high mountain wilds where we were camped.
"That is why you have me to stand guard over you as you sleep."
The warm reptilian mind of my den sister Jadra pressed itself against mine, sending courage and strength into me. "If only you can stand guard against my dreams as well," I said glumly.
"Perhaps. Jadra and Saffron are one."
She reiterated the ancient refrain, and I bowed my head for a moment of peace. It was true. There was a place between us where the dragon that was Jadra and the human that was Saffron became one, and in that joining we became something other. I didn't understand it, yet I knew that it was true. There was a nervous clearing of a throat outside the open doorway, and I knew it would be Tan, our sort of squire. "It's okay, you can come in, Tan," I called out, and the young tribal kid, eyes fixed to the floor, stepped through the canvas tent flap. "It's Lord Bower, ma'am," the boy said awkwardly. "You don't have to call him that." I smiled again, knowing Bower himself hated it when people bowed and scraped around him. Not to me, anyway. After all, I saw him turn green as a parrot and lose his breakfast when he first flew upside down. I tried to make the boy smile. Tan was only a handful of years younger than Bower and me, but already had the surly, wary watchfulness of the Three Rivers people. He, like everyone else in the camp, was clearly unsure of who was in charge. The mountain clans had never had kings and queens. They had chiefs and wise people, and all of them had got to that position by being the most intelligent or the strongest or the most cunning in battle. Like Ryland had been, I thought with a wince. He had been their war chief, and ever since Bower and I had returned with the other untrained tribal dragon riders without him, everyone was asking what we should do next. "Lord Bower wants to see you at your earliest convenience, but only if you were not sleeping, because he told me that you needed your rest after everything that—" Tan suddenly went pale, even though he was just repeating the words of my friend. "It's okay, Tan. Bower was right. And I guess my earliest convenience would be now," I said, "as long as we can get breakfast on the way." I found Bower standing amid a circle of his advisors, tall Three Rivers warlords and wise women dressed in traditional leathers and decorated in materials that befit whatever their station was within the clan. All of them were armed, and while I didn't doubt their ability to wield their respective weapons, looking at some of them, I suspected that they were more for show than use. After losing Ryland, one of the older men, Fiel, had taken on the role of clan chief, but I could tell that he didn't have the complete trust of all the clanspeople, especially the younger warriors and new dragon riders. Not like Ryland did. He reminded me of an older version of Vic, Bower's not friend, and I wondered if he might betray us if he thought there was any advantage in doing so. In addition to Fiel, the clan had a circle of chiefs, mostly chosen for their strength and prowess in hunting and fighting, and they were all serving as Bauer's advisors. At the moment, they were arguing, which had been happening a lot. Though it felt as if most of them recognized Bauer as the true king of Torvald, I got the sense that their allegiance was based more on waiting for someone stronger to take the reins. Meanwhile, they would support him. For now. When I said his name, Bauer turned his head as if some invisible thread connected us over the noise and commotion. He beckoned me closer. "Saffron, you look as tired as I feel." He kept his voice low as we stepped away from the others into the fresh mountain breeze. "Still having nightmares," I said without thinking. "At least I'm only reliving Ryland dying. Not that bad." "Liar." He frowned. "Have you had any more of the other dreams?" He lowered his voice to a whisper. I shook my head. He meant the strange waking dream where he, Jadra, and I had become locked inside of one night. Enric had created a magical trap, using powers I didn't even know existed, to try to extract from us the location of the Three Rivers clan. Thanks to my connection to Jadra and Bauer, we'd been able to break the sleep spell without me giving him any more information other than what the inside of my hut had looked like. "Thank the stars," Bauer whispered, and I could only agree. So far, neither of us had told anyone else about that strange experience, not even the Dragon Queen Yissix, as we were still too terrified of what it might mean. Could Enric do that sort of magic whenever he wanted? Could he invade any dreams like that, or only mine because of my Maddox blood? How could we protect ourselves against such an invisible attack? "But you still need to sleep," Bauer said, gently reaching out to touch my shoulder. "You can't keep trying to stop yourself." I could, despite all evidence to the contrary. I had been trying to stay awake since it had happened, volunteering for every watch shift I could, but to no avail. I always ended up falling asleep in the late hours and waking up in the cold grays before dawn, feeling just as exhausted as if I hadn't slept. It wasn't working, but I wasn't willing to give up yet. "Maybe if I keep busy," I whispered. "If I tire myself out so I can't even dream, then—" "But you are dreaming. You said so. Every night." Bauer frowned. "And it doesn't do you or anyone any good if you are exhausted the next day at your post." His voice was sharp, almost spoken like a real king. A part of me knew he was concerned about my well-being, but I wasn't willing to give in. Not yet. "Okay, I know what you mean. This can't go on forever. But we'll find a way, I'm sure." "Actually, that's why I asked Tan to fetch Mother Gorlas here." Bauer indicated the wise woman for the Three Rivers clan, who was regarding me from where she stood with shrewd and cold eyes. She looked older even than Fiel. She had thick, gray hair, still streaked with black, and a face deeply lined with wrinkles and dotted tattoos. "Maybe there is something in her herbs that can help you." I shook my head, ready to say no. I needed to master my magic and stop Enric, not take herbs that could make things worse. "I don't want some potion or concoction," I whispered, almost stamping my foot like a child. An exhausted child. I couldn't explain why this was making me so angry, and I couldn't stop myself.
"Den, sister, are you all right?"
Jadra thought at me, her concern radiating through our bond. "I'm fine," I said to both Bauer and Jadra. My answer was sharper than it needed to be, and I felt Jadra back away, even though I was sure she didn't believe me any more than Bauer did. "Is that why you asked me to come here? To drug me?" Did he really think this was a preferable option to how I was handling the danger? "Saffron, I need you." Bauer creased his brow, looking pained and worried at the same time. "I mean it when I say that I can't have you falling asleep at your post. You're our head trainer for every would-be rider here. I can't have you being a danger to—" "You think I'm going to endanger all of us, don't you? You think I can't control my own mind?" The thought that he didn't trust me cut deeper than the thought that I was susceptible to Enric's mind magic. We had been through so much already, battling the king in the citadel, fleeing to the western archipelago, then returning to battle him once again. "It's not your mind I'm worried about, Saffron," he murmured. "It's your magic. You still have a lot to learn, and you can't do that if you're exhausted all the time." He was trying to be as gentle and as reassuring as possible, keeping his voice low and calming, but the words hit me as an insult. "If you don't think I can control myself, then perhaps you shouldn't rely so much on me," I snapped, turning on my heel and walking away from the would-be king of the Middle Kingdom and the only person whom I had ever called my friend.